I'm Scott.
I'm Russell.
And I'm Leo. This is Spitball. Welcome to Spitball, the pitchin' kitchen, where three brainstorming buffs, that's us, and a guest empty our heads of all of our startup and tech product ideas that we have stuck up in there so you can all have them for free. Anything that we say is yours to keep. And Scott, I hear you brought our guest this week.
I did. I brought our friend Ryan. Ryan is currently out in Colorado. He's working on his PhD in integrative and systems biology, aka spiders. So please welcome soon to be Doc Ock, Ryan.
I was told that Mark Cuban would be here with money.
He's next week. You just missed him.
Crap. Hello.
Glad to have you. This is going to be a good time. This week, to get us going, we are dipping into the mailbag. As always, you can email the show with ideas, your own things that this spawned in your mind. If you take an idea and run with it, we are podcast@spitball.show. But we got an email from Sean, and it has two different pitches in it here. All right. The first one is simple. The second one has a little bit to talk about here. So the first one, Kool-Aid Hammereds. It's a Kool-Aid Jammer style juice container, mix of vodka. Likely needs a rename if it's off-brand, so you can't call it Kool-Aid Hammereds. It'd have to be like Cool Dad Hammereds, they say. That's the whole pitch.
That's the whole pitch. Target audience, 17-year-olds trying to get in the club.
Yeah, and us. Podcasters who are looking to stay fresh.
Are those like the plastic bottles that like twist?
I was just trying to remember the name of those. The weird little wing thing on top that
where
you
it kind
twist.
of looked like a spaceship on top. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I've always wanted those alcoholic.
Imagine how many landfills those fill up.
Wow. Downer. All right.
We'll make it.
We could triple
there we go.
it, Ryan.
Our target market. It's compost only.
Yeah.
Biodegradable
compost
plastic.
only plastic.
It's like those
Boom.
old wax candies with the juice in them where you kind of bite the head off and suck out the juice in the middle. We just make that, but big.
And just fill it with vodka.
Yeah. All right. The second idea.
Done. That was great, guys.
We did
it's
it.
a
We
perfect
solved
idea to start with.
We solved Kool-Aid Hammereds. Next. All right. This pitch is told as a story. I'm really enjoying it. We've all won the race once. Time for a race of champions. You want to do a themed 10K race. Think popularity like a Tough Mudder type thing. People receive hats that look like sperm. And from an aerial shot, the theme of the race is you're trying to get to the egg and fertilize it. First to win wins. You start in a huge, long, flesh-colored inflatable tube. Break through a wall of some kind, so some kind of Trojan advert, maybe they could sponsor it, and then compete obstacles through the race until you take a plunge in a circular pool, which is the finish. I'm censoring some of the more graphic details that they included. Thank you very much, Sean, for your very vivid idea.
I'm going to hit subscribe right now.
Do you think that's like an Olympic level race where like you have the whole world compete and like for some reason the sperm in certain countries always beat the other ones? Just have like a Olympic level gold.
Well, I would say we're not very far off because cyclists wear those aerodynamic helmets, right?
They kind of got the
I
look going
competed
for
in
them.
one triathlon once, and I was like the only guy without that kind of sperm helmet. Now, it really,
Yeah, it just needs like a ribbon on the end, doesn't it? Just kind of flapping in the wind.
It's got to be anything goes during the race, though. Like you don't have to pull any punches. It's first one to make it to the end wins. Everyone else loses.
What kind of obstacles would you face in a race like this? Obviously, there's got to be a hard left or right turn.
I was making some assumptions.
Oh, that's right.
It's just a bunch of inflatable like jumping castles, but filled with water, just for miles and miles.
I don't know if I could do 5Ks of that, let alone 10.
It's like running through sand that would kill people, dude. We got to be careful.
No joke.
It's wow, that's very interesting, Mr. Sean. For your suggestions.
And you too could be just like Sean. Email us at podcast@spitball.show. Send us something on social media. We're the same handle, podcast@spitball.show.
All right, Leo, what is an idea you would love to try but just have not had time for?
All right. So whether or not you believe it, the world's getting a little warmer every year, which isn't great. We in Michigan, here up in the the great Midwest have less and less snow, and it seems like more and more of the snow is intermittent. My darling wife is from Minnesota and treasures snow, and it seems like this last year we've had a couple of weeks where there's snow on the ground at the most. There are industrial snow makers for ski hills and things like that. Those giant fans with hoses that'll crystallize snow. And all you need to make something like that is a high amount of air under high pressure. You just think like an air compressor where you've got, something that is able to continuously generate high pressure. And you need there's a name for the tip. It's some sort of articulating, gyrating tip where it sort of is like a ball bearing that moves and causes the snow or the water and air mix to crystallize really quickly. There are a few machines like that you can get for multi-$1,000s for like small scale industrial use, but there's no home snow maker. I can imagine those days where it's like 33, 34 degrees out, where you plug in something in the backyard, a couple $100 at the most, where it does all of the kit for you. There's one company that has made a backyard home use snow maker, and the very first thing is you buy this really expensive nozzle and then supply your own compressed air and supply your own water line. And I want to make all that a easy, full service, all in one thing where I fill a water tank, I plug it in, and it just makes some snow for a little while, like a bubble maker for kids, right? There's a lot of days in the Midwest here where we've got just the right conditions, but it's dirt. Winter looks brown. And that's going to be more and more common in the coming months and years and decades. And I think we can fight it or still live it up, right?
Getting ahead of the curve right now.
Yeah. Imagine being the one house on your whole block that has a bunch of snow in the front yard and an igloo and a snowman and a snowball fight going on.
You are going to take Christmas decorations to the next level with this.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the whole pitch. Make this commoditized.
Childhood Winter Wonderland Simulator 9000. Us millennials, being grandparents. When I was your age, we had the real thing.
Oh, too real.
I know in Minnesota and some other like deep Midwest plains states that they get snow in the beginning of the winter and then it just stays for like 5 months and turns to giant ice banks. We don't really have that here in Michigan. We kind of have it come for a bit and then it's gone. And then we have a couple weeks of 40 degrees in the middle of January. And then it'll be back to being 20 and another blizzard and another week of snow. And then it's gone again. And we sort of go that way the whole time. I don't think we're going toward a world where we are going to get sick of snow in the way that we did in the 90s.
Yeah, it's trending down.
Yeah.
So I think this is
divest in your snow shares.
Short snow.
Your municipal plowing companies divest. Don't.
Sell. Always have a white Christmas. Okay, so every year,
yeah, you're working on the branding.
Yes, that's it. You just never let mom not have a white Christmas again, or always have a white Christmas for the kids and family. You got, one of dad's Christmas chores now, or progressive families are going to be spraying snow all day and all night the night before. Santa came down, ate his cookie, and sprayed snow all over the yard.
Add that to the mythology.
All night
Santa.
for you kids. Yeah. Why was there a giant air compressor sound coming outside all night? Well, Santa was
trying to be subtle for your children at 3 a.m.
That's the thing, though. I feel like right now what's out there is not fun to just hang out and have fun with, like a bubble machine or whatever. You got the giant sound of an air compressor right next to like hoses that you're having to thaw out to get to the machine right now because it's 29 degrees and there's no snow. There's got to be a way to like convenience this so that it's just, I don't know, fill up a water tank and it just does it,
It's taken the backyard ice rink to the next level. I really like this.
Yeah.
There's always that guy on the block.
It's like a slip and slide for the winter.
Yeah.
Snow and slide?
You could build, so if you imagine what you could do if you could control where the snow goes.
Oh.
You could make one giant 15-foot pile in the backyard. That's for snowing, or for sledding, excuse me. You could build a ramp, like a roller coaster.
Build a loop-de-loop.
That is crazy to think that I could 3D print snow in my yard, almost in a way, right? Like
there it is.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Even if there is snow, there's probably a use for a machine where you can directionalize it, right? A little cannon. Add to certain over here.
Dude, that'd be actually super convenient. I need to clean my gutters. There's no snow. I'm going to build
a ramp up to my roof.
Snow ladder.
Yeah. It wouldn't take that much water to make that much snow, right? I don't know what the snow to water ratio would be, but...
I feel like it fluffs up, yeah.
Right? It's a lot of air.
Just drain your pool in the backyard.
The 1% talking. we all just got pools we can drain.
Oh, yeah.
I wish.
Just repurpose some gray water, you know? Get your...
Yellow snow? No, gray snow.
You guys are really putting a spin on this. I don't know. Gray water snow doesn't sound great.
Tell your kids not to eat it.
Don't eat gray snow.
Yeah, slightly tinged, a little off-white.
I'll have a gray
For what we're saying about this, I think this
you.
might be one of the best ideas that we've had on here. This is brilliant. If you could truly create a prepackaged way to get snow in your backyard, people would be all over that. You'd be just that person in the neighborhood that always has... It's not having green grass, it's having snow on your front lawn.
Yes.
Yeah, if you could have the machine itself do the cooling, then you could even do this at 40, 50 degrees in the spring. It doesn't have to stay around for too long. You run it for an hour or two. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Could you pre-cool the... Is that what snow throwers do in these... I wonder how those commercial ones do it.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think that they usually have a big old fan and they just rely on the cold weather itself. But it seems like you could have a little, refrigerator freezer unit right at the tip. Nucleation nozzle. That's what it is. There's a commercial nucleation nozzle that's kind of like a little ball bearing that spins and sort of agitates the water as it's coming out to mist it. Nucleation nozzle plus high pressure air plus water. That's all you need. Plus temperature, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's cool. You also don't have to deal with, when I think of the snow, I think of all the snow shoveling and the worst parts of it. So this is all the fun, none of the hassle, right? Get your snow thrower. I bet, if you figure out how to build this, Leo, there is, I guess I'm trying to think of the upper version, the one that's, you get your local residential version, but there's probably, a commercial level, all right, here's your $4,000 version for those that want to always host the events, or the city buys a more effective snow thrower for special events or that kind of thing, If you can somehow make it portable and all that other stuff, you can create a snow as a service, which just sounds crazy, but why not? I mean, you don't need it all year round. You can kind of just create a fire truck level experience where you just roll up,
yeah,
a couple
shoot
days,
snow at little kids and drive away.
Connect to a fire hydrant, right? If cities would love to create a snow experience, it creates a lot of, especially when it's the winter time and every city's trying to get people to go buy and shop. You can kind of create, given certain times of year,
totally
roll up in an old fire truck, spray snow for a couple hours. And I mean, that flow rate, dude, get the nucleation going. Cook it up into... What if I had the commercial machine and you could pay me $100?
Rentals, yeah.
Yeah,
you fill up like a carpet cleaning van. You just show up and you pull out your hose and spray
Exactly.
for an hour and you're done. You leave. That's it. Yeah.
Because then you don't have to worry about equipment and storage and all that. It's not it's a service. And sure, it melts, but maybe you produce so much of it, it'll pile up and it's easier to stack or something like that. You get...
Just do a punch card system at that point.
Yeah. I mean, you might have especially right at the week leading up to Christmas, just
there you go.
make all your money back for the year.
If it wasn't snowing.
If it wasn't snowing.
These ads write themselves. Yeah. Tired of living in a climate crisis? Relive your childhood.
Want to go back to the nostalgic past?
Pretend the good old days.
Shake some jingle bells in the background. You got yourself a commercial. I think I would pay $50 Like, all right, get the snow here, you know?
Birthday parties
I
coming
feel
up.
like $50 doesn't even come close to cover the energy bill for plugging in such a thing.
I don't know. Maybe 100.
Save the math for the engineers.
Yeah, that's right. The engineers. That's right. I haven't talked about them in a while.
Oh, that's the other thing. So the thing that I was looking at was water spigot. So Backyard Snowstorm, who great job pioneering this idea before I got a chance to. It's water hose, garden hose to a pressure washer that you also have to provide.
What?
So you're using your own power washer, and then that goes to the snow gun, and an air compressor separately also goes to the snow gun, and that's what they need right now. That's when I was reading that, and I said, okay, I got to make this a little
A
more
lot of
unique.
assembly required.
I'm not bringing my power washer too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, screw all that. I love the idea of getting an old fire truck, putting the machine on top of it, and just going around for a rental service, blasting different people's
I'm the
lawns
snow
or
truck.
areas.
Yeah.
Experience winter
The snow
again,
truck called the
sucker.
Jack Frost.
Santa's coming to
And you can hold
town.
that little and you can hold that little Dixie cone cups and collect it and make snow cones on the side.
Dude, that's where it's at, Leo. Imagine you create an experience that's just like a pile of snow and people come up with their snow cones. All you can cone, you know?
Wait, is this the gray snow or the normal snow?
You sell this to firefighter company, like firefighters.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're doing it
Oh.
themselves.
An attachment
know?
that goes on top of the fire truck so that they
Uh-huh.
can be the cool firemen in the city.
That's right. And so maybe they don't, you're missing out on the service component, but they're more of that. Oh, now the city has a snow throwing machine on tap.
Dude.
Or you
yes.
make it a subscription service where they'll come by once or twice a week and just lay out a nice
Rent it from you.
snow yard on your neighborhood hill or your front yard. Who knows?
It's a fundraiser event, you know, buy some snow and the fire trucks just go
It's a
around.
fundraiser for municipalities. That's a great idea.
There you go. Now it can actually happen, right? We just gotta create the nuclei for the nozzle.
Create the nuclei.
The nuclear
There's your
friendly
brand
nuclei.
name. Nuclei.
There's so much fusion with snow. I didn't know.
Nuclei is the name of the business. It's settled. All right, Scott. What do you got for us this week?
All right, guys. I want to do something a little different this week. In case anyone's forgotten, our normal MO in the show is that we talk about fun startup or tech ideas that we'd love to try but don't have time for. Over the last couple of weeks, I broke that rule and attempted to execute one of the ideas fully. And so what I mean is that I started with the napkin sketch idea from, I think it was episode 2, and flushed it out into an e-commerce website that's selling a product right now. So instead of pitching this week, I just want to kind of tell what happens if you follow through with one of the crazy ideas in the show and how the process works.
Beautiful. Let's do it. Which episode was that? What idea?
We had talked about a small plastic light up button that we had found in AliExpress. And they look like That Was Easy buttons, if you guys remember those.
Oh, yeah.
They light up, and there's also, it's a button that lights up, and there's also a USB tail that comes out and plugs into a computer.
Press this one, Grandma, to answer the call. I remember that.
Yes, exactly. So on AliExpress, the Chinese factory that was selling these guys, you buy them in bulk, of course, and you're supposed to put your company's logo on top and then give them away at like trade shows or marketing events. And then anyone who receives one of these buttons from your booth can go home, plug it in your computer, and when you press it, your company website will pop up. It blew my mind that like the amount of overkill that was happening here, and that this factory was selling so much hardware for so cheap. There's a plastic injection shell, there's a circuit board inside, there's a USB cable, there's a logo on top, all for just a couple of bucks a unit. So in the original Spitball episode, we had talked about what if for a startup idea, we took these buttons, wrote some code so that there could be, say, a light reminder for daily tasks. Like I keep one in my kitchen, and once a week when it's time to take out the garbage, it'll light up and I know to take out the garbage. And when I take it out, I press it and it turns off until next week. What if instead of reminders, I could use this while playing a video game as a piece of extended hardware?
Which I think you had mentioned in the original pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, very briefly. This was kind of where my mind was at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all grew up in a time when real-time strategy games were all the rage. StarCraft, Age of Mythology, Age of Empires, Rise of Nations, whatever. You would get the CD in a cereal box growing up and then be able to play it on your Windows 95 PC. Yes, I still play these games to this day, and there's a large community of people that still do. Thank you, Twitch, for bringing it back. But I wanted to see if I could use one of these buttons inside of the video game, like have this button sitting on my desk, and when something happens in the game that I need reminding of, or I forget to do something, it lights up and tells me I need to do something. So anyway, that whole pitch on Spitball started a journey into the idle TC reminder light. Really, I just wanted to make an MVP for this, and I'm not a coder, so I've dabbled in some microcontroller stuff before, but I've never got like down and dirty with Python. So fortunately, ChatGPT is a thing now. And if you just describe what you're thinking into ChatGPT, it's competent enough to spit out some code that actually works decently well. And if it doesn't do exactly what you want the first time, or it gives you an error, you just paste the error back into ChatGPT and say, fix it. And then it spits out a different version of code. And you just keep repeating that more and more until you come up with an MVP for whatever product you're trying to work on. Hint, hint for people in the future. So anyway, we ended up with a working prototype for the game Age of Empires, where if you're playing the game and your main building in the game town center is not producing enough villagers, the light will light up on your desk. And that is the entire product MVP.
Wow.
I messaged some people on Reddit. I started reaching out to random friends that I knew still played the game and got enough interest in it that we kept it going.
I would love to talk about like just being a background
And you launched.
being an observer to this, Scott. What was cool is it didn't start like, I think you kind of thought about the idea, but it was a little bit of listening to the community on the Age of Empires subreddit and just watching that community grow, and then everybody talking about a major problem they were having. And you're like, shoot, I'm on Spitball.
I have a cheap Chinese product that could solve this that I heard on episode 2 of Spitball.
Right.
Would this product be easily transferable to something like StarCraft or StarCraft 2?
I think if you just went back to ChatGPT and use some of the same prompts to be like, hey, if you see this image on this screen, this specific thing is happening, send this USB command to light up the light. Yeah, I think it would be very easy to move this to any other game. Age of Empires is just kind of the prototype that we've been doing it with.
Is this cheating?
That's my next question. Is like StarCraft 2 is a big like esports, and like I assume it could also be applied if someone was adventurous enough, could probably do League of Legends or whatever.
So this is when you learn how to pivot really quick, because when I first posted this on Reddit, people were like, can you do that? I don't know. So you rebrand it as, well, it's actually a training light to help new players learn the game. And everyone's like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. And so that's what we've been going with ever since, the idle town center training light.
Which I think is totally legit, because like when you're doing, like when you're swimming and you wear flippers or you have a pull buoy, like you have things that help you cheat when you swim, but it helps you train.
You need your training wheels, exactly.
You can focus on other things or gain muscle memory using this training light. I think it's really hard if you're like trying to be a pro gamer to become more effective. Yeah. I have a lot of family in like the video game industry, and it's just like you have to be born with like crazy reaction time, or you find ways like this to maybe be more competitive or practice something in a different way. I think stuff like this needs to come out like more often than just play as much as you can and eventually get good. There should be just like drills. I don't know, like to get good at a game instead of playing it in the same way. It's like only learning how to play soccer or basketball by playing live games. There are drills, there are practice, there are methods to this. And I feel like Idle TC might be that first step in practice gaming or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Scott, I think a nice natural extension to this idea is to make the light condition change. So like my scout has stopped moving, like it's going to start flashing, right? Like if you can make a GUI that would allow you to change the condition that.
So it's funny you bring that up, because after the feedback of random people on Reddit and just talking it through and describing the product, they're like, oh, you should add this feature. You should add a GUI that you can control this. And I'll go, great, I'm going to do that. And so with a combination of some smart coworkers who know how to code and ChatGPT just describing what I want into it, we were able to add several more features because it's an RGB light. It can flash any color you want. So different colors mean different things in the game. And then a little GUI can pop up now that you can control exactly what you want to see and what you don't.
Consider like templates for different games, like StarCraft 2, like you preload a profile for that game so that SCV has stopped work, you need extra pylons flashing magenta.
There almost needs to be
additional pylons.
Steam has the whole, like, you can define a controller layout and everyone has their favorites and you can vote, yes, this controller layout's the best. You almost need like a marketplace where people can create their own RGB schemes and things to look for.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you download it for that one obscure game because someone else made it, and you make your own different set for Age of Empires because you want that to be purple at this time. And
just an entire open source community of, hey, you could turn this little USB button to do whatever you want for whatever game.
And there's so many resources out there for, like, go into your program that you made and put in a GitHub repository or something. And it just, you don't even have to worry about the hosting and infrastructure and all that.
Right. No, that's it. I think if you marketplace this, you're selling hardware. That's where you're making your money. The software is a sinkhole of, right? Infinite amount of software improvements.
Outsource the software to the community.
And they're the type of people, you're in a niche that they're all coders, probably in their part-time jobs or contributing in some way. So naturally, they're going to want to contribute, I think, to a project like this. So
you're just making an API. Yeah.
So just selling the hardware, Russell had a brilliant idea of, well, look, you just have a "that was easy" button on your desk. What if you actually made something that, referenced the game or looked like something from the game that would light up instead of just the button itself? So Russell had this idea to create a medieval tower of something from the game that would sit on your desk, look cool, and also light up to whatever color that you need to be alerted to in the game. And then that's when everything just really took off with this product. People were like, oh my God, look at this cool thing. It sits on my desk and it's functional. Like, absolutely. Give me one.
Looks like the thing. Yeah.
And so we did a couple of Reddit posts. We created a website, bought several, thousand of these buttons from China and have just been selling them ever since.
Congratulations. And where can you get those again?
Oh, yes, I shall plug this. idletowncenter.com. If anyone plays Age of Empires 2, you should absolutely go there. I know it's a niche of a niche market, but this is cool.
Yeah.
Can you make a tiered product where, like, you pay the base amount for, like, the simplest watchtower, and then you, like, the highest tier is the Bombardier Tower, like the model?
Why not?
Why not? Absolutely. We're still in early days on this. You can buy just the button or you can buy the cool tower attachment on top. But every single person buys the cool tower. And that's where you get your margins from.
Dude, that's why you spitball at home. You spitball in your free time.
That's why you spitball.
That's right. Because, just that community group thing. I'm so glad. It looks, I was lucky enough to get one. And it's so cool on my freaking desk. Dude, I have it right here.
So this tower you're selling is 3D printed?
Yep. It's all 3D printed at home.
Holy cow. It doesn't look like it at all.
Yeah, right?
If you have any ideas or you see any spitball that's like, wow, that could actually be a good idea, let us know and we can...
You should talk to us about any of your ideas. We want to spitball it with you. I mean, right? Scott was selling a button and now it started as a, episode 2 idea and now it's a button that exists.
It's a real website that is selling units per day.
I mean, that's no joke. That's like a huge effort and it's a starting point, right? I think a lot of success comes from starting somewhere and then moving forward from that. And I think we were spitballing yesterday, Scott, right? About the next, the Idle TC, finding a niche gaming, community and creating small little widgets or gadgets to support their training experience. The Super Smash Brothers Melee gaming community is, for some reason, so hot. It's an old game.
For some reason.
I mean, it's a fun game, but
it's a masterpiece.
Yes. See, it's just how it is. So how do you create more training experiences or create products within that niche to help them train better while they're not gaming? And I think, maybe Idle TC is not like that when they're not gaming, but like there's definitely ways that you can tap into that gaming niche.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where IdleTC could branch, in ways. So,
Yep.
When StarCraft 2 first came out, like I watched like the kind of the pro scene to try to learn how to play, and I would try to mimic that, but they have such like fast, I can't remember what was the
Actions
measure
per minute.
Yes, that exactly. Yes, right. Where I would just try to like slam on my keyboard, like I'm trying to do all these things, and obviously it doesn't really work all the time. I'm just like constantly hotkeying the command center or whatever, and the whatever the key for the build the SCV. This thing is. I ultimately got turned off to the competitive scene because it was just so intimidating. But like, this is such a great like tool for someone to just increase their like such a basic skill that's needed at like a higher level.
All this to say, like all these ideas on this show, they can all become real.
Totally.
Someone just has to act on them.
Yeah, you two are always like super into the entrepreneur side. I bring all these ideas because I genuinely want to have these things in the world. I just want a smoke detector for severe weather, and so I'm just hoping someone actually does it. I don't want to make a business out of it and deal with tech support and distribution and all that stuff. I want the thing.
I remember that episode of Leo where I just want the voice on the smoke detector to be like, please tuck your head between your knees.
Get down.
get down.
Assume the position. Embrace yourself.
Move to an
now.
interior room.
Your house is about to be torn apart.
I've been thinking about the last episode in Storazon nonstop. It's so good. It's fun to think about how you can turn this into a business. But if you're out there and you just want something to exist in the world, I also encourage you to just do it for you, man. I have so many things in my office that I have built that I never intend to turn into a product that I'm happy I made.
Reach out to us. We'd love to help.
Open source it. Podcast at spitball.show.
Scott, like, what's next with IdleTC? Like, what do you want to spitball now that we're here with IdleTC? Is there a next?
You don't want to call it done now.
Not yet. The idea of having an open source community, being able to, we're just selling these buttons and the community is creating different software for this. That's incredible. And I think everyone would win in that scenario.
Very cool.
Yeah, if you make it easy to create the plugin, right? Like get the StarCraft version, you could create the what is it? Horizontal, like get every game has a tower on there, whatever that might look like. Any competitive gamer, you can go to Overwatch, League of Legends. There's such a huge band that you can take.
Any MOBA. Yeah.
It's,
can
mean,
we get to Counter-Strike? That's like the biggest game ever. How do you get into PAL World? How do you get into Counter-Strike?
Yes. And you 3D print everything, Scott. Like you have the base, you have the raw materials. So it's like, I think the software fee is the cost. And so how do you get around, or how do you figure that part out?
Open source.
Here's the key market, Stardew Valley. Yes. No,
Starts
it's like
blinking at midnight.
You haven't given Gus a fish taco today. You're about to lose out on major friendship gains if you don't give him that fish taco.
I was thinking keeping an eye on the time. I have a hard time making it back to my bed by 2 a.m.
For God.
Yeah.
That's like 90% of my time with my Steam Deck has been playing that game that I already have like 150 hours on. Anyways.
Yeah. It's deceptively
yes,
stressful. That game builds itself as like, oh, you could just have some fun. That's how I sell it to everyone else. Have a nice time, but then you end up with your spreadsheets.
Like, it's Thursday. I have the whole village to give gifts to. Right?
It's gonna be her birthday tomorrow. How freaking dare you?
Find a leak for George.
All right, Russell. What's an idea that you would love to do but just don't have time for?
All right, everybody. We got a Love Corner idea today.
Yeah.
Cue the music.
So, all right. This idea takes actually all the success that there is on dating shows. So originally, this is an idea of the success of The Bachelor. Wife and her friends all watch The Bachelorette. Everybody is brainwashed on that show to trust the process. I love the process. It makes sense. I Googled the data. It turns out that the success of these Bachelor and Bachelorette shows it's not that great. So, but I think there are.
So we need to make use of that and make an app.
Yes, right. So, but I think there's a lot of magic when it comes to some of these shows, right? So maybe not The Bachelor. Well, maybe The Bachelor. We create a bunch of dating apps based on your favorite dating shows. And so now you can have the experience of being on Love is Blind or be on, these other dating shows through virtual dating, right? So it just creates a little different of an experience. You can cater it a little bit. You can be a little bit of it's a service. So you kind of have to curate some of the dating profiles. You actually create more of you're finding profiles, you're matching them together. There's a ton of different dating shows that you can kind of take the concept, apply it, and now you have the app version or the service version of that. So yeah, it's not online. It's kind of like online dating, but it's like there's somebody kind of masterminding behind the scenes, the matchmaking component. They're receiving all the applications, setting up the experience.
Oh, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
You've got a producer role.
Yes. So you're actually facilitating these connections. You're kind of creating like a digital online course experience almost with like.
Do you think this is like a paid position? Like the app brings forward these people? Or is this like a Reddit mod where they're just like, oh, hell yeah, I'll volunteer to be the MC of random strangers trying to date across the country?
That can't go poorly at all.
It does sound fun.
No. I think this is like truly like a service that you kind of pay a bit of money for. Like it's $1,000, let's say, for you, and then you get 16 people, or you run maybe 2 or 3 cohorts a year, and maybe 30, right? Now you're making a pretty good amount of money to be a matchmaker once every 3 months. You can record it. You can create all these different like content narratives off of it as well. And now you have like unlimited amateur content of dating matchmaking, which feels more authentic and competes with these high produced dating shows. It's like genuine. And then, for $1,000, like, I'll contribute to my friend to be on this show, right? Or submit an application or whatever. You can help make that win. So you might receive a lot of applicants that you have to like filter down every quarter and stuff. I think that's gonna be the trouble. But yeah, basically it's creating a virtual cohort experience that you see from your online dating shows.
And the whole thing takes place in the app. There's not another place to engage with it, right?
So yeah, I was thinking about it more. It's like you have the app, a phone app maybe, but might be more like custom depending on what the needs of the show are. Like Love is Blind, you could do virtually. It's like that whole show, the concept of the show, for the viewers that haven't seen the show, is basically you have a bunch of empty rooms and guys are on one side and girls on the other. And you basically just walk into a room and on the other side of a wall is another person that you talk to. You can't see them at all, but it's just like a see-through, like a sound pass through a wall. And so you're basically, the show is you watching people talk to a wall. Like this person talked to a wall, this person talked to a wall, and you're just like, oh, they're going to be such a great match or whatever, right? And you're like, just throw up Zoom, just like do this virtually. And now you have the exact same experience, but then at the end of the 6 weeks, you fly them in together and now they're meeting in real life and you can create content off of that, or people are going to drop off. There might be you cut some people that are not great content. I don't know. You can do a lot with it, right? It doesn't have to be a full TV show experience, right? To help cut the costs of running and producing this virtual experience. But yeah, it's whether it's The Bachelor, Love is Blind, or any of these other shows that are really popular, you capitalize on that and create the experience because everybody's like, oh, I'm going to put you on The Bachelor. I'm going to put you on The Bachelorette, right? That's what people want. So why not do that? So this is more of the catered experience. There is other ways to do it. Like you could create the app version that makes things happen really quickly, but I don't know if that's going to be as successful. So I like this this matchmaker behind the scene. So that's kind of it.
Is the matchmaker behind the scenes making a viewable experience for the general public? Like, are people firing up your app to watch the 16 people in the cohort? Or is this an experience just for the people who are on it?
I don't know yet. I think it's the service itself can be spun into greater, accolades. We'll say of you can just be a guy that makes $1,000 per applicant. You create the experience of like The Bachelor, right? You find a bachelor, you find 30 eligible bachelorettes, and you're just having them maybe fight over each other either digitally, right? Or, I don't know what it's like to be on that, like a producer of that show, right? But I think that you can create a similar experience, and it doesn't have to be once a season, right?
Mhm.
But
The reason I ask, so you could have a lot of concurrent going at once. That's so true. I ask because I remember, I think this is the second time in a row I've mentioned this, but do you remember how much of a craze it was to have HQ trivia, the whole world watching something on their phone at once? You might be able to turn this into like a thing that the world is engaged with,
Oh, that'd be cool.
A viral internet
all
version,
digital, yeah.
not Netflix or something.
Right. And it's in real time.
Different ones for different cities. This is the Houston one. This is the Detroit one. This is, and all of a sudden the San Francisco one really blows up because of some crazy drama, and people really focus in on that particular one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be a televised experience? You could localize it and actually make it real, right?
Just have TikTok clips of the best parts of it going through.
Right.
Yeah.
What if you added a twist? You guys ever seen the Naked Attraction show?
Oh, yeah.
Where basically they start with like you see a prospective partner's feet, and you like eliminate someone based upon their feet, and then the next round they like move up above their knees or something.
That is... You could create that experience, right? This is a real show, guys. Like, literally, it's just like...
It's so ridiculous.
You could rip off all kinds of formats. If you get the audience engaged, you could make dating shows. You could make actual game shows. You could make all kinds of, like, formats, right?
I guess, like, that's what's kind of cool. You could create... I think the televised dating show experiences are heavily edited. And I guess maybe it's because there's a lot of boring content behind the scenes, but like this is like, I think it'd be fun to watch my local group of the dating show things go live.
Totally. Our generation and older enjoyed the highly produced television, but I think the generations younger than us enjoy the authenticity of something being like real time. It's not, super well produced. It's got some hokiness to it. It's a little bit more direct person to person. You could still have a producer kind of setting it up and stuff, but if you just get an interesting story going and you turn the cameras that everyone already has in their pockets on each other, you could make something cool.
Yeah, and I think if I thought about this more, you could create like how do you create this more like passively? So let's say you create a bunch of dating dates, and they're just like produce like at the date you have to take out your phone every 15 minutes or 20 minutes and do those like I'm on this date, things are going well,
the aside,
blah, and you close the phone, like those side, and then all of a sudden you're just slowly revealing this like dramatic story, like in some way.
I didn't like that she ordered the most expensive appetizer. Like,
I can hear you. You're talking at your phone right in front of me.
You gotta sneak into the bathroom and
you gotta go away or something, right? But
you keep going to the bathroom every 15 minutes. Are you feeling okay?
Well, they both do, right? They're probably both because they're both on the show. Like,
I wonder if you could just hire a friend at this point, or just ask a friend to be like, "Hey, can you just kind of like monitor my date and live tweet it or whatever to this app?"
Yeah. I know. I think it'd be fun to just like have my wife's friends, as everybody knows them, just be able and eligible. I could submit them into the app, help curate their application, get them on the show, and now I get to watch them compete on this dating show. Oh, it'd be so fun to just.
I think you'd be a good producer too. Taking in the applications, deciding who gets to be on.
Yeah, he's invented Russell's Love Corner. Of course he would.
The Russell's Love Corner.
when The Bachelor contacts me or Love is Blind or Netflix will make it happen. You know, they need
This
content.
fun. I like this a lot.
Do you guys watch dating shows or at all, or like your wives do?
My wife does. There's lots of friends that she has that would be very into this idea and would love to participate in it.
Is that right? See, we need a lady on to. We'll have to do this again when we get a girl guest because I am curious what they're thinking.
Ladies, please DM us. Please talk to us, ladies.
We're so many dudes. We're if you like what our content says, give us a like. But yeah, that's I gotta name it though. What should we name it?
Oh, right. You gotta name it.
It's
Well, this is like a variation of like Big Brother, right? Where the camera is kind of like
the classics: Love is Blind, Naked and Afraid.
It's not Naked and Afraid.
Naked and Interested.
That's a different
aroused.
That's the terrible horror.
Naked and Interested.
Naked and Intrigued.
Naked and
Yeah,
Aroused.
that's good.
Naked and Intrigued.
yeah. Why don't you submit your names for the show, guys? Ryan, I'd love for you to introduce yourself a little bit, but Ryan's here. He is our guest. He's got a PhD in something and loves spiders.
Close enough.
Nailed it. It's like we've been friends for years now. I know him so well.
Almost PhD in something and loves spiders.
Yeah, to kind of undo that. I will hopefully, but yes, we have an online PhD award program. Just give me your social security number and we'll send you a doctorate. Anywho, so some background. I'm a PhD candidate, University of Colorado, the Denver campus, and I do my research at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. I'm an arachnologist, which means I study arachnids. And most people think of arachnids like spiders, scorpions, things with 8 legs, 2 main body parts. And so I spend a lot of time looking at what people would call creepy crawlies. And so this idea is mostly self-serving, but also is public service. That's because
I was so hoping you'd do an idea related to this. Okay.
I engage a lot with the people around brown recluses. So brown recluses are a spider that live in the southeast United States, and they have a venom that can cause dermonecrotic lesions. A lot of people will just find a random spider in their home and be like, oh my god, this is a brown recluse that bit my child, that bit my dog, we're going to die. And really that's not the case. So the idea is an app that basically tells you brown recluse, no brown recluse.
It's like the hot dog, no hot dog thing.
Yes, you are the third person who said that to me. Yeah. So yes, folks who have watched Silicon Valley will recognize a certain episode where hot dog, no hot dog, but it's recluse, no recluse.
That rules.
Okay. So this stems from, I do a lot of public outreach as being a part of a natural history museum, which does public education. And usually, when we do those events, someone will be like, at least multiple people will be like, my cousin's uncle's roommate from college, their barber once knew a guy who lost a limb from a brown recluse bite. And it's like, okay, well, where do you come from that from a scientific perspective? The vast majority of brown recluse bites are not at all like the media portrays them to be, like where these huge lesions and you lose limbs. So the idea for this app would be like, it uses machine learning for image recognition, right? It'll basically tell you take a photo of whatever spider, as long as it's sufficient resolution, like it'll assign some type of certainty. Recluse, not recluse.
There's a 46% chance that this is not a brown.
So I envision this to be pretty accurate in saying this is not a recluse, but then when it comes to actually saying this could be a recluse, that's where it gets a little bit wishy-washy, because there are multiple spiders that on the surface look like a brown recluse, and you have to get a really good up-close photo in order to positively ID the recluse itself. But this technology is already being used in conservation biology across the world. There's multiple papers that say, we put out a type of trap that collects insects, spiders, other arthropods. Those are creatures with exoskeletons and jointed legs. And then you put those critters that you collect after some months of putting out a trap under a high definition photography device, microscope, and the algorithm will say this is some type of beetle, this is some type of fly, right? This is some type of spider. And so they use this to try to see, are there species that are non-native to New Zealand, Canada, whatever, coming in and somehow ending up in our natural environments. So the technology exists to do this. It just would require a large training data set to say, the spider, long-legged, it's brown, has a violin pattern on its back, and the most important characteristic in this case is that it has 3 sets of 2 eyes on the same lateral plane on its head. Yeah. So what I envision is the first question is do you live in the Southeast United States? And if the answer is no, then you're okay, you're probably not.
You could literally put a GPS on there and be where are you right now?
So I don't want to be evil here, but you could say we require location data for you to use this app, and then sell that data to Google or something like that would be the evil route. Alternatively, you say, do you live in Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Texas, whatever? And then if the answer is no, then say, okay, you're probably not dealing with a recluse. That being said, recluses do hitchhike quite a bit, but they don't establish permanent
hitchhike.
So they'll get in someone's clothing, they'll get in luggage, they'll just ride along, and maybe they'll end up. You guys are from Michigan, so you'll see a story every year, Brown Recluse spotted in so and so. They're not natively from Michigan. Same here in Colorado. We hear all the time, brown recluses are Colorado. They don't natively live here. It's too high elevation, too cold. The weather patterns are too drastic. So they're only native to the Southeast United States. And so a lot of people will just I see this especially on Reddit. There's this whole spider subreddit, and people are
of course there is.
Here's this black spider. Is it a brown recluse? Oh yeah, I think you didn't connect the dots quite well enough there. Or this one's clearly green. Is a brown recluse? And
sure.
I often get photos this is 3 pixels. I can't even tell how many legs this thing has. What species is it? Type of thing.
Sure.
I don't know.
The app could guide you on getting zoomed in enough and what angle you need to see the eyes and all that. Yeah.
Well, that's the major hole, is that people probably aren't going to be comfortable enough to get a nice close-up photo. But it could probably say, if it's doesn't fit these characteristics, then it's probably not a brown recluse, and you don't need to worry if it's around your child or your pet. Something like
kill
that.
It. Just kill it.
I don't endorse killing of the animals.
I forgot.
Russell.
We have the
I don't remember who you're talking to.
The spider lover on the call.
If they're cold outside, bring them inside.
Warm them up. Give them a home. Why don't you? You could create a confidence level, a percentage of scale 1 on 100. Right. You add that feature instead of it being so binary. Right. You could be we're 80% sure this is a brown recluse because it's brown. It's got 8 legs. And eyes. I don't know, it doesn't have wings. I don't know. It's
yes,
it's not a hot dog.
Yes, it's not a hot dog.
I love this as an idea for an awareness or raising awareness for different things, or just using that idea of an app. Is this some binary thing? Yes or no? And then using that moving forward.
So there's that, and then maybe you can expand to black widows as the only other real spider of medical concern in the United States or Canada. Black widows are pretty recognizable, though.
Oh yeah.
But if you want to reach worldwide, right? You basically have to it would have to take gobs of data to basically have it image recognize brown recluses, their relatives, any widow, their relatives, and then anything else, right? There's I can't remember the last time I looked, but there's 51,000 species of spider out there.
Jeez.
And a fraction of 1% is something that is potentially harmful to you or a pet or a child.
Oh, wow.
Good.
So,
that's how it should be.
This is the kind of public service we do on this show.
Yes. So very neat. So this helps me because I don't have to potentially answer. I don't have to look at these photos they're taken from like a football field away, and they're like, let's see this thing ripped off my cousin's leg. What do you know? What is it? And I have to be like, I couldn't tell you, man. Like, people don't know, but separating species of spider has to do with you have to look under a microscope and you have to dissect like their genitalia. Like that's the way you do it. Yeah, it's involved. You can't just take a picture and be like, I know what this is.
Wow.
For the most part.
I think this would be cool to like add to museums and spread awareness like about this stuff. Like I can see this being like, rebranded a bunch of ways. Like learn more about spiders. I call them spiders, so that's just how I arachnids. Download this app, right? And now you're just scanning a bunch of different. Sure, you didn't get the brown recluse, but here's what it here's like 5 other things it could be, right? And now people are like maybe able to see this and like compare, oh, this is the brown recluse and here's 4 other images that are kind of close but aren't it. And so they can now say, oh, does it have that black spotted feature on the back, or does it have this bulb? And now you're, I guess, like teaching them about spiders without actually doing much. They're like trying to make sure that this is a safe spider, and all of a sudden they're like learning about, oh, this is normal, or it actually is pretty nice of a spider for some, like whatever that may, if that makes sense. But like,
it eats a lot of mosquitoes. You want it around.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like spiders provide a lot of like ecosystem benefits for humans. They eat like over 200,000 tons of insect like biomatter, right? So that's that many less insects in your face, in your home. Yeah,
Thanks, spiders.
They're doing great things. And you hit the nail on the head there, Russell. Like, people just want to know, is this thing harmful to me or not? And they don't need to necessarily know what species it is or what blood or group it is. It just, is this thing going to cause me to go to the hospital or whatever? And that's basically it. Vast majority of answers is no.
It makes sense.
There's an app I was playing with just recently called Picture This, which is a household plant tracker, but it blew my mind. You hold up your phone's camera to any plant in your house, and it will say with certainty, oh, this is this plant. Add it to my shelf, my collection. It'll remind you when you need to water it. You take a picture of the leaf and it'll say, oh, it looks like you're overwatering, or, oh, that's whatever rot. You'll want to find some mildew remover. I don't know. Whatever you need to do to kick care of plants. I'm not a plant guy.
Dude.
But it does all the stuff.
This is brilliant.
This kind of thing
because
exists.
We should adapt this for the spider.
Yeah.
Take that spider, you put it in a little bit of a terrarium, right? You give it a little bit of water, give it a cricket once a week, and all right, we're done. Thank you, Leo. This is the app.
I was going to say we're right on the cusp of like the technology to build this is not out of reach anymore. It doesn't have to just be hot dog or not hot dog. It can be what spider is this? When does it seasonally become more active? Where are good spots in your house to let it not disturb you while you're sleeping?
Sure. What? So if I may inquire, Leo, like what does it give you, this app? If you know, does it give you like a certain to like this species, or does it give it a broad category?
No,
like this
it was
thing is
like this is this specific one. Here, let me see if I can find it. I pointed it at it and it said, "Oh, this is the genus and species of this exact plant," and it got it right for all 8 of Megan's plants that I pointed it at immediately with no second guessing.
Oh,
dude, I've seen this app. It like it's like a doctor too. It diagnoses issues. It's beyond just plant identification. It is like, oh, that plant is sick and here's how to fix it and why. It's like,
it is wildly impressive, and the only reason I'm not still using it is because it was very expensive.
It's super
it was
expensive. It's like $10 a month.
$50?
Oh, 50.
Yeah.
I feel like any farmer or weed grower would be really into that.
No, that's awesome. And it uses that, just you take a photo and like how soon does it give you a kind of like estimate of what's going on?
Immediately, it knew.
That's crazy.
I know, and it'll tell you like, oh, this is a semi-seasonal one. It should be in indirect light. Consider putting it over here. It's good in these temperatures. This one's toxic to cats. That kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I was just impressed by how quickly and accurately it was able to identify. It says on the website more than 10,000 plant species. This is not a paid endorsement, but it seems like we're on the cusp of being able to point it at spiders and stuff too, if they can build something like this. I just
have to imagine, right, the amount of data that those models are trained on justifies the price tag for
must be.
It's tens to hundreds of thousands of photos.
We got to be getting closer, though, right? I mean, it's not going to get more expensive and harder to build in the coming years, unless by the time you're listening to this, OpenAI lost their lawsuit against New York Times.
Oh,
And now AI is illegal and nobody's allowed to build anything anymore. We'll see.
oh boy, yeah. So I was thinking, like, what if you took some of the plant idea? Could you turn, like, you said it, I think, Ryan, like, just catch your spider and give it a cricket once a week or once a month, and now you have, like, a pet. Like, you could turn spider fear into spider fun.
Philia, yeah. Spider fun.
Spider fun.
Sure.
Like,
Spiders do make good pets. They're pretty low maintenance. Don't expect them to live super long, but
is that right?
well, the females can live multiple years, especially if you have a tarantula. They can live decades.
Wow.
This is all in the app.
You see, that'd be kind of cool to know. Like, this spider's probably going to die in, like, 6 months, so you can just leave it alone. Or, like, I don't know, like, there's an element of, like, oh, why kill it now? It's only got 1 month left to live. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's like a fly, right? They have, their 48-hour lifespans or something? Like,
Yes.
Maybe this is too hard of a pivot to even leave in here. Is there a way you could make a kit, a productized version of Pet Spider where it acts as a bug zapper for you? Like, put this box in the corner and it'll take care of all of your mosquitoes.
Whoa. You ship someone a spider and it you put it in the corner of your
Maybe
house.
it can somehow be like a mesh that it can go in or out of, but the spider can't or something.
A spider that has silk laced with pheromones that are attractive to female mosquitoes. Something stupid like that.
Yeah.
stupid or
I
genius?
don't know. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Some bug bait that, like, there's flaps where the mosquitoes can get in, but it can't crawl out. I don't know.
Yeah, with, like, a fan. You create, like, a fan thing or something where it's one directional or something.
I don't know.
If you had the data to back that up, to be like, one spider box shipment could knock out X amount of grams of mosquitoes in your yard per year, I think people could be into that.
Maintenance-free pet. It's like a sea monkey.
Guarantee some ecologist somewhere has data that they could extrapolate into a one orb-weaving spider will kill like 30,000 mosquitoes in one summer for you or some shit like
That'd
that.
be cool. That's what bat boxes do, right? Like, people buy bat boxes for that.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think it'd be cool to have a, Brown Recluse or not, but, double down on that and turn it into a whole spider management app. It's like, I have spiders all over my home and, I want to know more about them or whatever.
Please cancel my next shipment.
Spiders. It's like Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah, right.
I have too many razors. I have too many spiders.
I mean, no. So that sounds crazy, but in reality, that's what countries have done
Yeah.
throughout our history. It's like, oh, we have too many of X. Let's release cane toads, and now Australia has like a cane toad problem.
Yeah.
Trying to think of another analogy,
Mongooses in Hawaii.
right? Where yes, the hubris of humanity is like, we can figure this out the biological way, and then they just make a new problem.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the other thing about this is that you create basically a data set. You guys have heard iNaturalist?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, really? Okay, so this is a website where basically anyone can upload a photo, and then community members will try to identify the organism in that photo.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns into this kind of like identification by consensus type of thing.
Nice.
It turns into like a data set of some limited utility because you can't necessarily trust the public's identification of things, especially if you have to look under a microscope. But like this app could be another source of data of like what's in a home in the month of May. What kind of spider potential data source?
That'd be cool. I think like tracking, like I don't know, like it just seems like such a small, insignificant part of what I think about. But if I were to look at it like with this app, it makes me kind of consider what the heck is this? I just feel like it's a nuisance. I immediately put it in the chore category when I could be thinking about this like maybe a little differently. Like if I had a little piece of technology to like help me understand what it is, I wouldn't immediately go into kill mode, like is it
Yeah, sure. That's ultimate goal, right? Is this thing harmful?
right?
Right? Like can I let it be, or do I need to get the hell out of here?
But I want to catch them now. Like, I want to catch some like little spider Pokemon, and now I have my Poke Spider Dex, and now I can catch them all, Ryan.
That's
A
how we
spider
gamify it.
Pokedex.
We gamify it by having you try to take as many pictures as possible, and the more you take a picture of, it's like bird watching, but better.
Why hasn't anyone made a Pokedex for bird watching? That's
I'm sure they
freaking
have.
brilliant.
Yeah.
They call that a Audubon bird list. It's the worst experience ever unless you're a birder.
What if you did that for all animals? What if you created like a Pokedex for like just like the whole kingdom of the animals?
Yeah.
Gotta snap them all.
Good luck collecting all several million.
This is several million. Dude, it ain't easy.
That's an
It ain't
underestimate.
easy filling
Yeah.
your Pokedex, you know, to be a animal master. Start with spiders.
Start with spiders. We'll grow from there. That's version 2.
Yeah.
Ryan, that's a really good idea.
I'm glad you think so.
Yeah, I would download it, or at least go to the web app version when my leg is feeling tingly and I'm psyching myself out.
I would frantically download it when I see a large brown spider in my
I
house.
mean, you're the target audience, right? Like, oh god, is this thing about to kill me or what?
Right. Ignorant civilians like us. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed yourself this evening, and thank you for being here, Ryan. That was fun.
Thank you.
Our website is spitball.show. There you can find links to YouTube channel, social media, all that stuff. Email us, please, like Sean did this beginning of this episode. Comments, ideas, anything that this provoked in you. Are you building a Pokedex for the entire animal kingdom? We'd love to hear about it. Podcast at spitball.show. That's also how you can follow us on the Fediverse, such as Mastodon, maybe Instagram threads sometime soon. Podcast at spitball.show. Our subreddit is r/spitball show. Our intro-outro music is Swingers by Bonkers Beat Club. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe, add whatever your podcast app lets you do to follow this show. But more importantly, if you wouldn't mind, a 5-star review goes a long way on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That's how the people can find the show. So please review us wherever you get your podcasts. New episode is out in 2 weeks. We will see you then.